Oh, I wasn't even recording. Now that's the way to start a YouTube channel. Hey, it's Lise, and welcome to. I don't know if I can sing the title of my channel without invoking copyright infringement or violation, but it's called Two Fat Gummies and a Microphone. And if that sounds familiar, you know, and if it doesn't sound familiar, you can Google it and see. So, anyway, that title has been in my head for a while. There's a lot in my head. And that's what I hope to talk about as honestly as I can here, but also under the influence, because it's easier for me to listen. Look how I have to pause to say it's easier for me to talk when I'm relaxed on gummies. Oh, I'll show you. They're not sponsoring me. I'm not sponsored by them at all, but I'm learning. I'm on Off Hours brand Serenity, vegan, gluten-free, and you can buy them, I'm sure, directly from their website. I am fortunate enough to have a wonderful dispensary, Housing Works dispensary here in New York. They deliver, and they have two lovely shops now, locations. And I guess I can put this down now. And so Housing Works Dispensary is part of Housing Works, which they have a consignment shop, I guess, or thrift shop. I'll put the link. Listen to me saying this. I'll put the link in the bio of this video. But Housing Works came about to help the LGBTQIA community and people living with HIV and people homeless living with HIV. And it's just a really wonderful organization in general. And so when I found out that they'd opened a dispensary, I was like, because there's dispensaries everywhere where I live. And you don't know, but I knew I could trust there. And they're not sponsoring me either. Sometimes I don't buy a lot because I'm a member of the working poor. But I am working, but I'm poor, and that's America. And that's on period. And I say that in honor of Trixie and Katya, who I will be referencing and gooning over every once in a while. Well, probably once an episode, because I just love them. They remind me so much of, if you don't know who they are, they're two wonderful drag queens, and they work a lot together, and they have the Bald and the Beautiful podcast, and they used to have the show, which wasn't a podcast, but it was a wonderful show that I have just decided I'm going to binge watch over 4th of July weekend. And then they do the I Like to Watch through Netflix, and they've taken the show on the road. They do their podcast live on the road, and Trixie does. If you don't know who they are, that alone will tell you. And I'll put their link in just because I just love them. Like I said, they remind me of my childhood best friend and me. We were just two peas in a pod. And that's how I really think of those two girls. And to tell you the truth, I have like a crush on both of them. As Trixie and Katya and as Brian's. Let's figure that one out. Maybe I'm bi. Anyway. I wonder if they'd appreciate that, or if that was wrong. Was that wrong? Anyway, so I'll be probably mentioning funny things I've seen on their videos too throughout the time. But I'm going to be talking about my life. I'm a frustrated writer, and I've always written in journals, and my whole life. And I feel like my story, I'd like to write my story, like to write my memoir. Uh, the issue I'm having is, because it's really hard to write a memoir, and I don't know whether to take it from all the journals I have, but I don't have every journal, just the last like 5 years or so on me for for big reasons that we'll get into later. But, it's not like I have all my life's worth that I could delve through. Oh, it's kind of it makes me cringe just to think about it. But, yeah, so talk about, but what I was going to say, the gummies are kicking in. I took two about 20 minutes ago. That's my limit, too. And it's cheaper than drinking in the city, and I think it's better for me. I shouldn't be drinking anyway. It really is jet fuel, people. And I understand, because when my dear friends come to visit me, I will have cocktails with them. But that's once or twice a year. And other than that, I don't feel good drinking, and it's expensive, and I don't want to bring it into the house. I just don't want to have that. I was a smoker for 25 years, and I drank a lot. I wasn't an alcoholic, but I would use, well, as most people do, use alcohol to dull the pain, or to numb it yourself just a little bit. I mean, we could all say it's just to get, high and get in that party mode, but I think for a lot of us, because that's something I'm also going to be talking about a lot, is trauma, because I think trauma is what we're all suffering from, whether we realize it or not, whether how aware we are of it or not, or what stage of healing, if any, we're in due to it, and how hard it is to do that, because the systems in place don't make that very easy for most Americans. And I'm not going to get, I probably will get too political, but I feel very strong in my convictions, and I'm still learning, and I hope to always not know enough. I'm sure I will always not know. My God, I sound really arrogant there, didn't I? I hope someday I will still not know enough. Wow. Anyway, God. See, here comes a tangent. I went off on a tangent, and now I can't remember what it was I was going to say. But anyway, I wanted to write a memo. That's a long dream away. But I wanted to write my memoir. But I have chronic illness, which is something else I'll talk about. Mine is in the form of rheumatoid arthritis, which is an autoimmune disease. And, we got a lot. And as I say we, I mean I have a lot. Well, maybe it's because there's more. There's a lot of me going on in there. There may be a couple me's in there, I don't know. But because I have rheumatoid arthritis, and it's bad in my hands, I realized that writing, like typing, it is going to be hard. Would be hard to do. It'd be painful. And so I thought, well, what other way could I kind of, can I do this? And maybe share some of what I've been through, and some of my ways of healing, but also talk about politics and the things I'm passionate about. I don't really, I'm sure there are plenty of other people out there who feel like they've just never really fit in. I'm one of those people. I just feel like I've always been an outsider, no matter where I was. And plus, and this is a Katya quote from, was it their I think it was an episode, and now did I just flake out on what it was? Yeah, and I did. See, you just never know what's going to happen on this channel. I could have this amazing insight, and then it just poof, it's gone. And that's what happened there. But I will get back to that Katya, and maybe even before I finish this practice video. I'm surprised actually that Baba Gigi hasn't come in, but it's warm here. I don't have the AC on. It's in my roommate's room. I just have the fans on in my room, and she's probably conked out in her mom's room. But she comes in from time to time, and she's a wonderful solace and comfort to me. And I know you're thinking, oh my God, the hair, the glasses. She's a little cat lady. Well, I think we're all lonely. I don't think it's just me. And a lot of times I'm not lonely. As I've gotten older, I realize I really enjoy my solitude. I probably have a little too much solitude, but that's also because of chronic illness and having to work full time and everything that goes along with that, and then still constantly in therapy, healing from trauma. I'm like, try to make it sound less serious than it was. That must be some kind of trauma-informed response. So, yeah, and I thought I'd also, to keep things a little light, I love music, and so I thought I might try, like, every week, like, picking a song of the week that just really vibes with me, and sharing that. And this week's, I think, already is going to be Shaka Khan, I'm Every Woman. And actually, I would also recommend Whitney Houston's version of it, because she does the song justice, and Shaka Khan is in the video, and it's a beautiful video. I think was Salt and Pepper in it, or TLC. I think it was Salt and Pepper in it, and then it's just a beautiful, powerful woman song. That didn't come out right, but it's a very empowering song for women of color, women, and all women. But it's beautifully, it's a beautiful video, and Whitney had never looked more beautiful. She was pregnant, so it's melancholy. It's bittersweet to watch it, because she's just glowing. And she's beautiful, and she really does song justice. And of course, it helps having Shaka Khan there, and she calls out. And well, I'm sure a lot of people know that version of that song, but I recommend either one of those today. That song really got me today when I was listening to music. I haven't been watching a lot of films lately. I'm going to try to get back into that. I have the Canopy app through one of my library cards, and I got to use that because it's a wonderful free service, and libraries and library budgets are constantly being begged for because they're constantly being cut, and the sad state of affairs to fight so hard every year for funding for libraries and their services. And so I want to use that app more. I'll put a link down, and you can see if your library card uses that app, because it's wonderful. Foreign films, and that's the thing. And it's more just like the Hollywood thing in general. I'm just so I haven't been to the movie since, 15 years since my divorce. I'm divorced. I used to go to the movies, pretty often. And I think even more, as much, if not more so, when I was married. I'm so grateful to have been able to see the Lord of the Rings trilogy. That movie really, I'll get into that too, but that's, and I know I'm not as huge, or what, I was not as huge as a Tolkien fan, of a Tolkien fan, as my then husband and a lot of other people. I'd only read The Hobbit, which I liked, but I did end up reading the trilogy. It's much denser. You um, really gotta pay attention, but it's very good too. But the films, and I know, whatever, you love it, you hate it, it's subjective, you know. I I guess it was because of that time of my life, that trilogy just really moved me, and I'll get into that too, I'm sure, at some point, um, because that's kind of what this is all about. Um, I'll probably go back from like growing up as a kid in the 70s to today. Oh, and I thought I might also do like what pisses me off about New York City of the day, or a little, and I mean, I feel very fortunate. I've always wanted to live in New York City, and I may have moved in the wrong era of my life, because my original plan was to move here after high school when I graduated, was to go to college here and to be an actor. And that did not work out. Well, it eventually worked out, but not until 4 years ago. So, or almost 4 years ago. And, well, I love like uh, there's still, I'm an Edward Hopper fan. I love his artwork. And there have been times when I have walked to work in the mornings, or walked somewhere in the mornings, and seen the sunrise, the sunlight, that morning sunlight hit a building, and it looks just like a Hopper painting. Just that same, oh, it gives me chills. Um, and I see something new every time I venture out, you know. Uh, it's just, it does, so it carries that magic for me, and I don't know if that magic is more mirrored it more decades ago, because, oh my God, I would have loved to have been just one night at Studio 54 wearing a like Furstenberg wrap dress, or a damn, that was her name, right? I loved her like wrap dresses, but like a spaghetti strap version, something like Donna Summer would wear, or anyone going to a disco, or anyone, on Soul Train, or on those great 7 Three's Company, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. And because, funnily enough, I was made to take ballroom dancing lessons as a kid. And I mean, my arm wasn't twisted. I mean, I was a theater major and or English major 4 times. So I have a very strong artistic uh, element to me. It's just frustrating to not be able to realize it, or it comes out differently than you thought it would. But there's still time, just so you know. There's still time. I mean, even this is me doing something that a year ago, well, maybe, I don't know if that title popped into my head several months ago, and I just couldn't get it out, and I just thought maybe that's a sign. I'm not a religious person, just so you know. I'm an atheist, and it may be because I was born and raised going to church. we can get into that too. I'll get into that too. How going to church made me an atheist. Uh, it wasn't the only. Well, yeah, I guess it would have to be one of the big reasons to be atheist, but also the experiences I had had as a child, and not just me, but as you get older and you see all the suffering in the world, and that plus my own suffering and the suffering of my loved ones, but just you know there's so much of it, and there always has been. I had a friend who asked me, she's like, I feel so overwhelmed by by all the bad stuff going on in the world. And she said this to me before, and each time that time and this time I said, just don't watch it. I don't watch the news. I read very little news. I can still not take much. And we'll get into the reasons. I keep saying we, but yeah, it just sounds, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm trying, well, maybe not trying, but that's just how I am. I'm an extroverted introvert, or and so I like to feel warm and cozy in my language sometimes. Is that right? That doesn't sound right. I'm gonna have to edit that out because I'm high. That was weird. But I think I lost the thread too. I just got my haircut, my summer haircut. They lopped about 5 inches off. I could have sworn I just heard a little New York accent there. But my friends here, like my coworkers, they say they hear a Southern accent because I'm originally from below the Mason-Dixon line. Not very far below, just below the Mason-Dixon line. And so I hear the twang sometimes. There's a little bit of twang. I live, I guess now, I lived about the first half of my life. No, more. I guess I lived about half of my life, or a third of my life, in my birth state. I don't know. But the rest has been scattered about. I've been in other places too. And I don't know how much I feel like my birth state is like home. Well, I've never really felt at home either. I'll get into that. We can chat about that. I'm trying not to use Trixie and Katya language because I know they don't like hearing, especially like straight white women being like, go off, girls, but I'm sorry, Trixie and Katya, if you ever see this and hear me have said that. I really try not to bogart that language because I feel like it's not mine to use. When I do use it, it's a sign of like affection and respect for you guys and gals. But I call everyone guys a lot too, or dude. Isn't that weird for someone my age? Yeah, I do that. I call a lot of people dude. You'd be surprised to know I'm like well, look up Half-Earth Socialist. There's a book called Half-Earth Socialism. Isn't that right? Anyway, I'll put the link in the bio in case you're interested. And that's my book recommendation. I'm going to do that too. I'm going to recommend a book. Maybe not every week because then you get inundated with, it feels like pressure, and I'm tired of feeling like rushed and pressured about shit. I mean, I'm always worrying about stuff, and I feel like if I stay more present, I'm about to get, and no, I'm not crystally Reiki. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I just haven't gotten into that. But I do meditate every day. And I have to say, oh, and again, no sponsor or anything. I just have used the Insight Timer that I guess you can get in your Play Store, App Store. You can pay or you can do it for free. There's a free version, which is what I use. Like I said, I'm working poor. I wish I could, but I can handle the free version. You don't get access to maybe to some of but they have tons of free content, guided and music and talks, and I have found it helpful, especially my morning, to ground me. I'm not a very grounded person, and I have anxiety, and so yes, even with meds, because of course you're always having to find new doctors and then try new meds, and that will be discussed too a lot. I was thinking I would love, again, all right, this is the last time I'm going to talk about Trixie and Katya so much, but I was thinking about doing like my makeup online, and I know if Trixie ever saw this video, she'd be like, girl, what makeup? And she's right. I have like a serum, SPF serum from Pacifica. Again, not a sponsor. And I'm almost out of it. But it gives kind of it looks like this. And it's like, I'm into serums now, I must say. I do like a serum, but only when I can afford it. And so I've been using e.l.f. serums because I learned that from Trixie. Because her Trixie Cosmetics channel, she uses all these different products to make up her face and to do her drag face. And she talks about them. And she recommends some and she doesn't recommend some. And I know she has never done Pacifica. And I'm sure Pacifica is not for drag queens. But I'm not a drag queen, sadly. But I did find out a relative's name through 23andMe. One of the best gifts anyone has ever given to me. I had to cancel the subscription because I can't afford it anymore. But she gifted it to me, and I found out some amazing things. And I don't know where I was going with this, but yeah. Anyway, god damn it, where was I going with that? But anyway, it's good. And you can get, it's vegan, cruelty-free. I like that it has a glass bottle. I'm trying to be more low waste, zero waste. It's hard. Plus, if you have chronic illness, chronic pain, products can be hard. Things can be hard to open and, all that shit. Anyway. But, so convenience sometimes for me has to trump. Oh, shit. Didn't want to say that. But I have to take that into consideration. And it's usually less expensive than like the good zero waste products. And there's a zero waste store in my neighborhood, or just a couple blocks up, and I want to check it out. And that's the other thing. I mean, they're wonderful products, the ones that I have used, but they're not cheap. But I thought if I could get them locally, and I don't buy a lot. I'm very minimal, or I've become very minimalist. And we'll talk about that. Oh, I wonder if my face has gotten, does it look, I wonder if that's just what my face always looks like, or if that's, I'm on prednisone right now as I start a new RA drug regimen. And I'm wondering if that's making me look like chipmunky in the face or not. Whatever. Hopefully I won't be on it too much longer, but right now I have to have it. Anyway, I don't even know if they make this anymore. But yeah, that's what I'm wearing today. Plus concealer, elf concealer, which I know Trixie loves. Uh, I'm just going to be mentioning them a lot because they inspired me too. And I feel like I'm a little bit of each of them. I'm a little bit Trixie, I'm a little bit Katya. And sometimes it's not even, it goes more in one direction than the other. And they just have wonderful chemistry, and I've learned a lot from them too. You know, I've always thought of myself as, especially as I've gotten older, let's just say I try to find as many ways to show compassion, show unconditional passion, which is what I'm really into. And God damn it, now I lost the thread again. But so I feel like I've always been an ally before they were saying use the word ally. Though I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know the history of that word. It may have been around a lot longer than I know. But I've just been hearing it more, obviously. Well, because of technology too. But they're very entertaining. They make me laugh, but they also teach me stuff about, you know, LGBT. I can never say it. LGBTQIA, queer community. I've learned about like bisexual. You know, and so I think that can only help me. You know, is to learn more about these people that, you know, I want to, this community that I want to stand with. So anyway, I thank them for that. And plus they got me into other drag queens like Violet Chachki. She just, I love her. I would love to be like her. She's something else, but I love it. I just didn't know much at all, and it's crazy because I grew up, I was a teenager and young adult during the worst, the 80s, which was like, it was AIDS, you know, and as little as I, you know, because as little as I like followed it, because I was in my late teens and 20s, and you're young and stupid, and you don't follow news, or I did, you know, but it was just so, you could not know about it and not know that our government was not responding to it at all, and that it was that, and that just so much love and talent was lost, you know, so much like untapped talent, or just, you know, so much beauty, and just snuffed away. Yeah, I find it very moving. I mean, it moves me when I think about it, you know, because it was everywhere, you know. The AIDS, I remember in the 80s, the big AIDS concert, concert for AIDS, with, of course, Freddie Mercury. You know, damn. It's funny because I am aware of current events, but what I think a lot about, and like I said, I have boundaries about how much I subject myself to, because I just know I can't take a lot of it, but I can take little bits. And I just, in case you're interested, when I do check the news, which is very rarely, I use the Associated Press or Reuters. I, I, if anyone has any other suggestions for, you know, real news and not, you know, independent, and also from other perspectives, not just the American perspective. I just, for now, I still respect those institutions to get my news from, and there are a couple others. But damn, I can't even watch The Daily Show anymore. You know, it's hard to laugh about it, except like in a going mad way. Like you just like, what the fuck is happening? Rueful laughter, is that what they call it? And then I just I do have I think I have a pretty good sense of humor. I seem to make the people I work with laugh quite a bit. I won't ask if it's at me or with me, but they seem to think I'm pretty funny. I'm not saying I'm a comedian or anything like that. God, no. Don't ever think that I would ever presume to. Though I've been into watching retro comedians. I know that sounds rough. It was just, there are a third of this population thinks I'm retro. So that was not meant as a dig. But, oh God, where was I going with this? It's going to happen, folks. Retro. God damn it. Anyway, maybe when I edit it, I'll remember what it was about. Damn. Because it was... whatever. I wonder if I'll ever be able to afford to get maybe contacts or another pair of glasses or a pair of prescription sunglasses, which I really need because of my RA and they say I have cataracts now, but I also, some of my medication makes my eyes extra sensitive to the sun. And I had one outrageous pair. I treated myself. Can you imagine? I treated myself to a good pair of prescription sunglasses. That was a treat. And it was. But they were so... I loved the look of them. They were like big 70s. And did I get them in... I think I got them in white. They were big, like a Jackie O kind of, almost, but white. It was a bold choice. I admit that. And they were heavy, so they kept slipping down my face. But I loved them until I left them in my car, where I foolishly parked too far away from the lake where I used to take walks frequently. And Lady Gigi, oh, that's another thing I call her. She's right here. Hi, Baba Gigi. See, that's what I call her a lot too. And I use that voice. You're just going to have to get used to it. Let's see if she comes in the frame. I don't want you to see the rest of my room at this point. Ow! Oh, she doesn't have any upper teeth. And I don't either. I have dentures. And I'll discuss that because I know people are afraid to talk about stuff or revolted by stuff like that. I get it. I totally understand. But the reasoning behind it, we'll get into that sometime too. Baby girl! There, here, let me see if I can, there's her tail. She's a good girl. Baby girl, I'm making my first video. What do you think? She just wants to be locked up. My roommate is out of town for the week. And so she's wonderful. I'm very fortunate with my roommate. Plus, she's given me, I don't want to go too far over there. Anyway. Here, I'll just do this real quick. There she is. I'll probably have to blur out the phone number on her little tag. Let's see. That. See, I've been watching a lot of videos and paying attention to how people make videos. And mine right now doesn't look anything like theirs, but it's a journey. Oh, I'll probably have to, I don't know. I don't know if I just should just talk until like the tangent is just, the pause is just too long. But I wanted, I was thinking about intro music for my videos, and I was listening to a playlist. I'm no longer on Spotify, and that's because it's expensive. I can't afford it. And there's a new book. I haven't read it, but a friend of mine had recommended it. It's about Spotify, and I guess, like I said, I haven't read it, but from what I gathered, it was basically a company just pretty much made to make money from selling ads. Do I have that right? Anyway, I put it on my to-read list, but I'm not going to live long enough to read everything on my to-read list. And I'm fine with that, but I just want to, I hope I get to to a lot of good ones. I've also got to the point where if I'm like a few pages in, I'll give it a chapter. Unless it's like a classic where the chapters are, the type is really small and the chapters are really long. But usually I can get through a classic. That's why they're called a classic, probably, right? Because you can get through it. Anyway, baby girl, I'm so happy you came up here. So yeah, but I mean, I also read, so I've been trying to read more classics this year. Classics just in general, including books. I can't believe some of these, classic literature that I have, it's just another, I mean, it's classic, I guess, for a reason, but, I'm impressed by anybody who writes a book, even if it's not a great book. That's a lot of hard work. I'm not going to read it, but, well, I may start it, but I won't finish it. That was the point I was getting to, was that I'm just not going to waste time. And I'm 55. I pretty much know what kind of books I like. Though I would like to branch out. I'd like to get into some kind of sci-fi again. I was never really into sci-fi. I'm trying to think of some, like the closest like sci-fi fantasy I read was a series. I have not read Hitchhiker. I know. See, it's terrible. I know it's on my list, but there's this great writer, Jasper Fforde, and he wrote the Thursday Next series, which, first of all, the main character, Thursday Next, is a woman. And this man wrote this female character who is just one of my favorite characters of all time. Seriously. And the books are just a joy. He makes wonderful literary references and throughout. Plus it's fantasy. She dives in it. She can dive in and out of books. I haven't read the series in a while, but I think there was there. I feel like there was one out a couple of years ago. The time is just like flying by. I can't remember. It could have been 6 months ago. It could have been 10 years ago. I don't know. That's a Katya reference. A deep one, probably. But yeah. No, I was like that. So anyway, this is what it's going to be like. So I thought I would do like maybe a book of the month, or a book every month. But then I could recommend a song. I'm not much into today's music. And that's funny because when I was married, and I'm trying to think, even after my divorce. No. It was before I was married, and while I was married. Before I was married, I got into country for a while. You know, like Reba and see, I don't. Oh, but like Tanya Tucker and uh, the Judds. There was some Reba McEntire sang some beautiful songs. Um, and then I kind of do that. I kind of like get into something and then I kind of move on. And I went through like a country. I mean, I remember seeing Coal Miner's Daughter. What was that? Back in 77, Sissy Spacek, which, oh, I'll do a movie. That'll be my movie recommendation today. I haven't seen it in a while, but I have watched it several times. And Sissy Spacek and I can't remember the guy's name, but you all will know. Well, maybe not everybody, but Google it and you'll know. God damn it, what was his name? Anyway, she's fabulous. Oh God, Beverly D'Angelo is incredible as Patsy Cline. So I had, and actually as a kid, on a vacation in Tennessee, we were taken to the Grand Ole Opry. So I've been to the Grand Ole Opry as a kid. So I've always loved music. Music is something that has constantly saved me, always saves me. And I have lots of stories about that too. But, Coal Miner's Daughter. It's just Sissy Spacek. Give it up for her. Because that was a great film. And I think I watched it when it came out. So that made me... We'll get into why I was able to watch certain things at ages where probably... Well, of course, kids in the 70s saw shit that kids today would never... I mean, it swapped out from stuff, but being a 70s child was a whole other thing. It was a vibe. It was a vibe that I'm really glad that I got to participate in. And I have to say, I feel sorry for kids today. And pretty at my age, everyone like under 40 is a kid to me. You know, I even have family members who are 40, 40, early 40s. And I still call them kids. You know, as you get older, everyone is a kid. I don't know where I was going with that either. Let's see, another thread. That reminds me, I was thinking, I'm doing pretty good now, but I was thinking, first of all, if I ever got to stand for my phone, because right now I'm holding it, you can probably tell. And I know I probably shouldn't have my glasses on because of the thing, but I like me with my glasses on. And I couldn't see I couldn't see myself because my eyes are that bad, or bad enough that, so maybe I can edit out the reflection or something at some point, but I'm not worried about it right now. Yeah, so like I said, I love I love all types of music, and that's one thing that I'm grateful for, especially, well, of course, 70s and 80s and 90s music. The 70s and 80s are very dear, and 90s too, but and then of course, because of some of my family members, I was brought up listening to big band and jazz, but mostly big band, but then that kind of morphed into jazz, and I still love big band. The Lawrence Welk Show was huge when I was a kid. And actually, PBS used to play it, and I would rewatch episodes. They're just so incredibly wholesome, and it seemed sincere. I mean, some people might cringe, but it seemed like, yeah, it was very white, but and it seemed very middle America. But what redeemed it in my eyes was that the musicianship was really, they knew what they were doing. They made, well, some people probably didn't like it as much. I guess they call it elevator music or whatever. But I love, they had wonderful musicians and singers. Oh God, now I can't remember the name of the girl, not the girl, the sister. I guess it was the sisters, right? Lennon Sisters? I think it was the Lennon Sisters used to be on there. See, so I know very little rap, but I grew up with Grandmaster Flash, so I used to sing that song by heart. I can't sing it. You know what song I'm talking about? Gangsta's Delight, right? It's Gangsta's Delight. Gangsta's Delight. I don't know why I'm saying gangsta. Gangsta's Delight. God, I'm not gonna. Well, I'm aging myself, but I don't mind because it's a great song, and it was a great period of music came out. It was a great time for music. That's what I was trying to say. Anyway, okay, so this is pretty much what I'm going to be talking about. So let's see. Again, I just have to go over it again because I'm high. So I thought I'd do like a book recommendation, and it's something I have to have read, and not just that I recommend because the blurbs looked good. So right now I'm reading like 1, 2, 3, 4 books, 5 books at a time, which is why I hate to like label and think that I have ADHD, but it's because I also have CPTSD, and I know they can share symptoms or have similar symptoms, from what I've read. Don't take me. This is not medical information, professional talk. This is just me saying this, and now I can't remember where the thread for that was either. Okay, I think it's time to stop this one. But yeah. Oh, yeah, right. So like a book a month. This is getting fun. Well, I think this is the 3rd time's the charm. So like a book a month, and then maybe a song every week that I love, and maybe a film or a TV series once a month too, something like that, or just whenever the hell I feel like it. Could do that too. But to give it a little structure, I'm the type of person I need a little bit of structure, some boundaries, because I'm going to go off the rails enough being on 2 gummies. So I thought giving it a little bit of structure. And maybe somebody watches this and they're like, ooh, I did that song. And they play that song, and then they makes their day better. And if anyone can do that, Shaka Khan can do that. So all hail Shaka Khan, because every time I hear her music, it especially that song. Oh, but don't also watch the Whitney Houston version. It's bittersweet, but she does the song justice. Shaka Khan is in the video, and Whitney Houston had never looked more beautiful. So again, those are my recommendations for that. I'll put the link in the bio. I have to learn to say stuff like that. And I'll try to remember to link everything else I talked about here as I edit. And maybe I reached out to someone about asking if I could use a bit of their song for my intro music. So I don't want to get my expectations high, but I have fingers crossed that I can get, because I feel like the song resonates with me and kind of like the mood of this thing that I'm doing, which is, I guess, like a video memoir in a way, and stories. All right. Oh my God, that was so bad. That was so bad. Anyway, like and subscribe if you enjoy this. As far as comments go, I'll respond love to nice or hateful comments, but I won't respond other than that to negative comments. So I'm not, but if you have any suggestions about stuff you want to hear me talk about too, we can get into that. But I have a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on up there, and I've had an interesting life. I know we all have. But this is mine, and I feel like I want to, that I've gleaned some wisdom from it, but while still being open to learning new things and talk about the things that I'm learning. Oh, now I remember the Katya thing. I'll put the link in the bio. I think it was an episode, and Katya mentioned to Trixie that she took 2 gummies, and she said, "Girl, I was thinking," and that's that comes to mind when I think about this thing I'm doing, because that's what happens to me. I tend to ruminate a lot, and I have found, and I've only been taking gummies for a couple of years. I think everyone since the Housing Works dispensary opened, and I decided to give it a shot because the meds I was taking weren't working, and trying to find a therapist and trying to find we know, right? And they helped. They have helped. And I really try not to two is my limit. Let's just put it that way. It does me just fine. Not to, no judgment for anybody else. But, with RA, I have a hard enough time. I walk fine. Yes, I'm in pain, but I walk really well because I have always walked. I've been a walker. It was like my thing to show that there was nothing wrong with me because I was taking care of myself by walking. Plus, it was being outside in nature. We'll get on all this. There's so much to talk about. Anyway, if you like this video, you can hit the little button, and you can subscribe, and you can share it with anybody else that you think might enjoy it. I'm just doing this for me. So even if nobody else watches it or likes it or has anything to say about it, I'm doing it for me to have. So, but I thought it might be interesting to share, so there you go. Anyway, thanks to whomever is watching or whoever is not watching it. Ooh, and I'm just going to hit an hour. Of course, I'll be editing a lot of stuff out on that. But this wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I was so scared to do this. And I'm really glad that I hit the gummies hit just right. And I just picked up the phone. And I did it. I'm really proud of myself because I said I was going to do it this week. And I did it. It's no small thing, my friend. Did I say that's no small thing, my friend? Ooh, I do have a show, but you have to have BritBox. I don't know if they show any of it on YouTube. BritBox is wonderful. I'm there. I'm not. They're not sponsoring me. Obviously, I have no sponsors. Nothing like that. But I've always loved BritBox. I had to cancel my subscription actually because I need to save money. So and I just had to forego that. And because I also want to lean into the Canopy app while it's still in existence, while we still have access to it. So, or while I still have access to it. And yeah, did I say what it was that I was gonna? Oh, Upstart Crow, David Mitchell. I have a huge crush on him. If you don't know about him, he's a British comedian, writer. He loves history. Anyway, he played Will Shakespeare in this show called Upstart Crow. And it's become one of my all-time favorites. And I've watched the series a few times already. I just like that's what I forgot about the 23andMe. I found out I'm 100% European, which means I'm pretty much 100% colonizer. Most of my DNA is East Anglia, and then a little Irish. That's about 91-ish%. Mostly East Anglia with a smattering of Irish. But they found some DNA matches buried in Ireland. Like I said, it was fascinating. It is fascinating. I love history, and I know very little about a lot of my family. And that's hard. It's hard, especially when you never felt like you belonged. So it was a huge gift. And so mostly English with a smattering of Irish, I guess, too. But I'm 7% German, French, but in parentheses it says Netherlands. And that was, see, it's all going full circle. That's where I found out about I had an ancestor. Well, it was either through that. No, it's not through that, but it was because of being on 23andMe. And I have a friend who's big into genealogy, and she found out through a genealogy site that I had an ancestor, and I'll have to tell you the name last time because I can't mess it up, but I always thought that would be my drag name if I ever became a drag queen. Though I would have to be like a geriatric drag queen. I don't know if the world is ready for that because I'd have to wear orthopedic shoes and a lot of padding. So that part is, similar. Well, not so much padding, but like Spanx. Probably a lot of Spanx, corsets. I don't know if I could do that. That's a really hard job. I have found out too through watching Trixie and Katya. And that really is the last time I'll talk about them tonight. But I'll put their Bald and the Beautiful link. I'm just calling them out because they're one of the best things. I always look forward to watching their stuff on YouTube. And I think they're really talented and funny, and they teach me a lot too. And that's a really good combination. And plus the chemistry. And no, I don't want them to have sex. Just like they don't want to have sex with each other. If you know, you know. If you don't, that's fine too. I watch a lot of their stuff because they make me happy. Anyway, like and subscribe if you want to watch anything more or see what the hell I'm talking about next. I think I'm going to try this once a week and see how that goes. But let's see how long it takes me to edit this. And then also see about intro music, or else I'm just going to have to come on, like, you won't see my face. It'll be blocked out, or I guess it'll be like this. But I'll go 2 fat gummies and I don't know if I can say the rest of it because it might be copyright infringement. Just that little bit that I sang, if anybody recognized that. And I don't want to like try to rap it or anything because I'm not a rapper. That's why I want this intro song. And on that note, love and peace to everyone. And I can also recommend. That also brings me around to. I remember I was talking about the Insight Timer, and the Insight Timer is where they have meta meditations, and that's loving kindness meditation, and I've been doing that on top of I was into guided meditations, and then I kind of got into breathing meditation. Well, I always did breathing meditation, but then I kind of got into guiding. And then I had just kept reading more about loving kindness meditation. That's something that I really want to practice, put that out. So, I have a lot of anger inside me. And I want to use it for good and not any other reason. And I don't know why I'm doing this with my hand. Yeah, I've just been doing this with my hand. Fortunately, I don't think it's been in frame, but I guess I'm trying to use my hands to talk, but it's off screen so you can't see it. So there's no point in me doing it, but I'm still doing it. All right. Anyway, again, I'll try to link in everything that I said I was going to link in at the bottom of this. And okay, love you. See you next time. Night.